more college football videos. I'm going to do a live stream to cover that. Week 8 last week was a pretty decent week. There were a couple upsets, several surprising things. No less surprising than top 5 team go down. You guys probably know already who that is. So week 8, we'll start with the top 25. What's up, Bernard? Nice to see you. Number 2, Ohio State at Purdue. I'm sure most of you guys you'll play of. Not sure what that means. Okay. Number 2, Ohio State at Purdue. Ohio State was 12.5-point favorite. They didn't cover that spread. I picked them to by just a little bit. And we all know a shocking Purdue upset. They won by 29 points, 49-20. Major upset for Purdue. Purdue played their tails off. I watched a lot of that game. What's up, Beast Mode? Nice to see you in the stream, man. Hope you're a college football fan because that's what this video stream is. And so Ohio State gets blasted. And number 3, Clemson against North Carolina State. I picked this to be a close game. It ended up not being close at all. Clemson easily covered the 17.5-point spread. I picked them not to. So that is 2 spreads right off the bat that I missed. Let's go with number 6, Michigan, a 7-point favorite at number 24, Michigan State. Again, I missed this spread, thinking Michigan would not cover it but would still win. They won and covered easily. Well, not easily, but they won by 2 touchdowns. Number 9, Oklahoma, covered their 8-point spread against TCU just as I picked. Number 10, UCF, covered their 21.5-point spread at ECU, even without Mackenzie Milton. He was injured. Number 12, Oregon, at number 25, Washington State. I picked Oregon to win and Washington State to not cover the 3.5-point spread, but Washington State did cover. They won that game. That was a surprise. Number 15, Washington, 17.5-point favorite, defeated Colorado. I did not think they'd cover the spread, but they didn't, just as I thought. Number 18, Penn State at Indiana. I picked Penn State to cover the 14.5-point spread. They didn't. That turned out to be a close game, but Penn State won in the end. Number 19, Iowa against Maryland. Iowa was a 9.5-point favorite. I picked it to be more than that for them to cover the spread. They obviously did. Iowa drilled Maryland. Number 20, Cincinnati at Temple. Temple's a 3-point favorite. I was surprised at that spread, and I picked Cincinnati to win by a field goal. No win for Cincinnati. They did not win. Temple wins and covers their spread. So I got that one wrong. Number 21, USF and UConn. I picked USF to cover the 34-point spread. They did not. They barely beat UConn, who is an atrocious college football team. So I got that one wrong against the spread. Number 23, Wisconsin, a 25-point favorite against Illinois. They covered it. On to the SEC. Number 1, Alabama at Tennessee. Alabama, 29-point spread. They easily covered, just like pretty much everybody thought. Number 5, LSU versus number 22, Mississippi State. Some thought this could be a really good game. I picked LSU to cover the 6.5-point spread. They did easily. Mississippi State's quarterback Nick Fitzgerald threw 4 interceptions and only threw for 57 yards. Number 14, Kentucky against Vanderbilt. Kentucky, an 11.5-point favorite. I picked them to cover, but it was a close game. Kentucky won that by a touchdown. They did not cover it. Pretty ugly game, but Kentucky gets the dub. Auburn at Ole Miss. Auburn, a 3.5-point favorite. Auburn did cover that spread by 15, I think. I think it was 15. Ole Miss is my team, obviously. We just didn't show up on offense to play, and we didn't get the win. Missouri against Memphis. Missouri was a 9.5-point favorite against Memphis. Rather high, I thought, but Missouri blew them out of the water by 30-something points. I picked Missouri to not cover that spread, so I was wrong on that. I missed a lot of spreads this week. Arkansas against Tulsa. Arkansas, 5.5-point favorite. I picked them to win. They did cover that spread. They shut out Tulsa 23-0. A horrible offensive performance, but they get the job done on defense and get their second win of the season. First win against an FBS team in 10 or 11 games, I think. Maybe not quite that long, but it's been a while. And my top 10, I ranked my top 10 last week as I've done the past couple weeks. Let's review how the top 10 did. Number 1, Alabama obviously won. Number 2, Ohio State lost, so trending downward. Number 3, Notre Dame was off, so about the same. Number 4, Clemson. Now, this is my rankings, not the actual rankings. Number 4, Clemson. They won big, and they're trending upwards, especially after Ohio State's loss. I had number 5 as Michigan. They won by 2 touchdowns, so you would think they would be trending up. Number 6, Oklahoma. They won pretty big. Number 7, LSU won fairly handily. Number 8, Texas was off. Number 9, UCF won handily with the backup quarterback. And number 10, Oregon lost. So 2 of my top 10 teams lost, unlike last week when 4 of them lost, I believe. So that is all from the Week 8. Get this over here. All right. Let's start. By the way, I have added Heisman Watch for this week. So you guys let me know what you think about my Heisman. What about my Heisman list. And my top 10 for this week as well. If somebody's watching, please share this with some of your friends. Get the name of my channel out there a little bit. Number 2, Clemson at Florida State. Clemson is 17-point favorite. They will cover that. Florida State's got a trash offense and a trash defense. Florida State's got no chance to me. I mean, somehow they're around 500, but they just have not looked good at all this year. Number 3, Notre Dame at Navy. Navy runs that triple option, but they're down this year. Notre Dame is a 24-point favorite. I see them covering that. I see it being about 4 touchdowns. Number 6, Texas at Oklahoma State. Texas a 3-point favorite. I think they will cover that right around the 3-point spread. It'll be pretty close. Texas defense is pretty good, and but their offense isn't great. Even with their starter in Ellinger, who's really not that much better than Buechele, neither of them are great throwers. I mean, none of them are superb throwers, so their offense isn't great. Number 8, Oklahoma against Kansas State. Oklahoma a 24.5-point favorite. I see them easily covering this one. This should be a blowout. Number 14, Washington State at number 24, Stanford. Stanford is a 2-point favorite at home, but they have the less rank. I think Stanford's going to pull the upset. I believe Bryce Love is healthy for once, and I believe he's going to be able to run enough on Washington State. They'll be able to score just enough to beat Washington State, and they'll be able to stop whatever their quarterback's name is. I can't remember what his name is. Gardner Minshew, is that his name, I think? Some say he's a dark horse Heisman candidate, but it's possible. He puts up numbers. He just, his yards per attempt is not very good, but he completes a lot of passes and throws for a lot of yards. Number 15, Washington, a 12-point favorite at California. California, no one really knows much about them. They were ranked earlier in the year, but they were beaten by Oregon. I pick Washington to cover this 12-point spread on the road. They'll have a good game. Jake Browning will not throw an interception, play a little better. And they'll be able to run the football, and they'll be able to stop California mostly. Number 17, Penn State, a 6-point favorite at home against number 18, Iowa, a marquee Big Ten matchup. Iowa riding high. They've been playing well. 1 loss. Penn State, a 2-loss team. But Iowa hadn't really played a lot of good teams. So we're going to see what they're made of. I see Penn State winning this one in a knockdown, drag out. It is not going to be a lot of scoring. I think Penn State's going to win this by around a point. They won't cover their 6-point spread. Number 19, Oregon at Arizona. Arizona's not that good this year. Khalil Tate's been banged up, their quarterback. Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite, which is a little low. I think they will cover that by a little bit, and they will win this one pretty easily. Well, not by a little bit, but by a good bit. Number 20, Wisconsin, a 4-point favorite at Northwestern. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I think Northwestern's going to get this one. Clayton Thorson for Northwestern is a good thrower. And if they can get just enough running game to supplement that, they will beat Wisconsin, because Wisconsin's defense is not what it usually is. And neither is their offense. If Northwestern can stop their run and score just a little bit, they should have this in the bag. Northwestern has a decent defense. Nothing special, but it's decent. So they're up to the task. Number 21, USF at Houston. Houston is a 7.5-point favorite. I see Houston taking this but not covering the spread. USF has not looked good in their past 2 games against very inferior competition. So I don't know what to think about them. I see them losing their first game of the year this year. Number 22, North Carolina State at Syracuse. Does that say a 21-point spread for North Carolina State? No, that says 2. I wrote that wrong. The 2-point favorites are North Carolina State. I see them not covering. I see it being a 1-point game. So if North Carolina State loses, I'll get it right. If they win by 2 or more, I'll get it wrong. But I think it's going to be a really close game. Syracuse, Eric Dungey is a pretty good quarterback. He's struggled a little bit, but he's not bad. And North Carolina State's Ryan Finley is a great quarterback as well. Number 23, Utah at UCLA. That game's going on right now, actually. Don't worry, I picked this game before. It started. So number 23, Utah at UCLA. Utah, 10-point favorite. I picked them to cover it by about 2 touchdowns. I have Heisman Watch written here, but I will save that for the end of the video in case someone gets on the stream. SEC, number 7, Georgia against number 9, Florida. Georgia's a 1-point favorite. This should be a good game. A game like Penn State and Iowa, defensive game. Field position, defense, special teams, stuff like that. That will play a crucial role because neither offense is that great. Georgia has a better offense, possibly, but they're very one-dimensional. As Fromm has not shown that he's able to pass the ball against good defenses. Felipe Franks has been able to move the ball some on better defenses. Nothing special, but he's capable. I see Florida winning this one. I don't see Georgia covering the 1-point spread, obviously. I see Florida winning this ball game. And Florida becomes the front runner in the East along, well, no, not the front runner. Kentucky would be with a Georgia loss. And Kentucky and Florida would be tied, but Kentucky has beaten Florida, their only loss. And so Kentucky would have the tiebreaker, and Kentucky would be in the lead in the SEC East. But Kentucky and Georgia play next week, so that should be a really good game. Number 12, Kentucky, at not number 7, at Missouri. Missouri, a 7-point favorite here. Yes, at home, they're playing the number 12 team in the country, Kentucky. Now, granted, Kentucky is a little higher ranked than they should be. But 7-point favorite for Missouri. Missouri is not a bad team. Drew Lock's a good quarterback. They can score. They can throw. They can run. Their defense is average. It's all right. But beating Kentucky? I don't know about that. I think Kentucky's going to win this one, and obviously Missouri won't cover that spread. I could see Missouri being favored by a couple points, maybe. 7 points is high, but maybe the bettors in Las Vegas know something I don't. Number 16, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State, a 1-point favorite. It's in Starkville, so maybe that gives them an edge. Nick Fitzgerald has played horribly lately. He has regressed this year. I'm going to pick Texas A&M to win this one. State does not cover the spread. Mississippi State. They've got to do something besides run the football. Their defense is pretty good. I mean, they can stop the run pretty well. Their pass defense is decent, but they can stop the run, and they can run, but they cannot pass. And defenses are keying in on stopping the quarterback run and the running back. They don't have any other offense right now. Fitzgerald's going to have to complete some passes. But I don't see that happening enough for them to win. Texas A&M gets it done on the road and stays with just 2 losses. And some say they could make the playoff. That's a long shot, but it could happen. South Carolina against Tennessee. South Carolina at home, an 8.5-point favorite. I see South Carolina getting the win here, not covering the 8.5-point spread. Tennessee playing better as of late. They lost to Alabama, obviously, which everyone has this year. But Tennessee did beat Auburn pretty convincingly, so I think Tennessee's on the road up. I don't think they're a great football team, but they're doing better. But South Carolina gets the win here. They're just more talented. They've got more talent. In the last SEC game on the slate, Vanderbilt at Arkansas. Vanderbilt a 1.5-point favorite, surprisingly, on the road. Vanderbilt has been the better team this year, obviously, but Arkansas is trending upward right now, more so than Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt reeling. I believe they lost 5 in a row. So I believe Arkansas takes this one by a field goal. All right. So we'll start with my top 10. We'll start with number 10 because we all know who's number 1. Number 10, I have Georgia moving into the top 10 after a couple losses from top 10 teams last week. So they moved up a little bit. They're from the SEC, obviously. Number 9, UCF, stays exactly where I had them last week. So no change there from the American Conference. And from the Big Ten, that moved down a lot from last week, is number 8, Ohio State. They moved way down, 6 spots down. Number 7 from the Big 12 is Texas. Some would say Oklahoma here, but I have Texas. Texas trending upward. They moved upward after a couple teams ahead of them lost. No, number 6, LSU is from the SEC. They went upward as well. Number 5, Oklahoma from the Big 12. Number 4, Michigan from the Big 10. And number 3, Notre Dame, the independent. I have number 2, Clemson, as they move up after their big win. And number 1 is Alabama, obviously. So Heisman watch now. Number 5, I have Will Grier from West Virginia. Number 4 is Dwayne Haskins. Number 3 is Kyler Murray. Number 2 is Travis Etienne from Clemson, their running back. And number 1, obviously, is Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. See y'all later, and God bless.